Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Biotech panel. I'd like to start by saying that on behalf of the U.S.-Ukraine Foundation and all of the recipients of the Biotech Initiative, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Irene Joseph, without whose generous support the Biotech Initiative and this conference would not have been possible. So Irene, a big yakuyu from all of us. In the last panel, you heard from some of Ukraine's IT and tech innovators, and now you'll hear from some of its biotech and medtech innovators. The moderator of this panel is John DesRosier. He's the senior advisor to the U.S.-Ukraine Foundation Biotech Initiative, and he's been instrumental in guiding this project the past 2 years. So a big thank you to John for all his help and for moderating this panel. A little bit about his background. John brings with him a wealth of experience in scientific research and technology and commercialization. He has a PhD in microbiology, was a university professor, worked for a startup company, and spent 11 years at the University of Washington working on commercializing biomedical technologies. He later went on to be a private consultant in commercializing early stage technology and capped his professional career as executive director of the Washington State Life Sciences Discovery Fund. And before I hand things over to John, I'd just like to take this opportunity to also invite everyone, if you haven't done so already, to visit the exhibit booth, to visit the exhibit hall, where you can visit the booths of the various initiatives of the U.S.-Ukraine Foundation, as well as some of our partners and sponsors. So John, it's all yours.
Thanks, Christina, for the introduction. I would like to extend a really warm welcome to our panelists today, as well as those of you who are attending and listening to the panelists. We've got 5 really interesting companies that are all based on exciting and really interesting research taking place in Ukraine. Our format will be, I will give a brief introduction to each of the companies and speakers, and then after that, each of the companies is given 5 or so minutes to talk about their company and their products and services. And after that, we'll have some regular questions that I have, but we certainly want to invite any attendees to also ask questions at the end. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and just give a short little introduction to each of our speakers and their companies, and then we'll go into the more extended presentations. So the first one I want to welcome is Cardiomo Care, who's being represented by Ksenia Belkina. She's the co-founder of that company and is currently CEO, as well as CEO of Cardiomo Europe, a subsidiary. Today, she's going to be talking to us about her company's wearable device for heart disease prevention. She has 15 years of corporate managerial experience, and in 2020, she was recognized as one of the 20 top women tech entrepreneurs in Ukraine. So that's Cardiomo Care. The second goes by an acronym, A.D.A.M, A.D.A.M, and our presenter there will be Dennis Gurak. Mr. Gurak is CEO and co-founder at A.D.A.M, which is a 3D bioprinting company whose primary focus is on printed bones. Dennis is an experienced C-level manager and serial entrepreneur. He's also a partner at We Fund Ventures, an early stage venture firm with a focus in disruptive IT, biotechnology, aerospace, and security projects. So Dennis, welcome. The third company is called MyHelix and represented by Dariya Loseva. Dr. Loseva is co-founder and CEO of MyHelix. She holds an MD in genetics from Taras Shevchenko National University and is currently a PhD candidate in genetics. She was recognized among Ukraine's top 30 under 30 by the Kyiv Post in 2018. MyHelix was founded in 2016 and offers genetic testing and counseling to improve people's health through better nutrition. And I'm not seeing that she's on the broadcast yet, but I'm sure she'll be here momentarily. Next company is called Explegen, and that will be represented by Markian Samborsky. Dr. Samborsky is a co-founder of Explogen, and he's also currently their chief bioinformatics scientist. He's got an extensive background in bioinformatics, having worked in both the corporate and the academic sectors in the United Kingdom. Explogen is a contract research company working in the fields of synthetic biology, metabolic engineering of microorganisms, genomics, and bioinformatics. And he's not with us yet either, so we'll be expecting him shortly. And finally, we will have Nanobot Medical, represented by Yuri Svedinko. And he is here. Mr. Svidinenko is the founder of Nanobot Medical, which is a company that offers innovative digital graphics services that depict actual and conceptual technologies through a synergistic fusion of art and science. Yuri has more than 20 years of experience in scientific communication, mostly in explaining complex biology and medical paradigms to a broad audience. His company uses machine learning and data sciences approaches to visualize huge arrays of data and make complex information more user-friendly. So I think the diversity among these companies is really fascinating, which again shows you the diversity of work going on in Ukraine. So with that, we're going to start with Cardiomo and Ksenia Belkina. Ksenia?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, John, for introduction. And thank you everyone for having me today. I'm Ksenia Belkina. I'm CEO and co-founder of Cardiomo. And our company, Cardiomo, developed an AI-based solution for remote patient monitoring and diagnostics that enables smart, continuous, real-time and cost-effective monitoring of patients outside of hospital settings. Our solution consists of wearable patch. This is this is our product. Yeah, of wearable patch and cloud-based analytic platform. And we provide early detection of arrhythmias with almost no healthcare professionals' involvement. Our solution monitors patient vitals such as ECG, heart rate, respiration rate, temperature, body position, analyzes all this data and predicts critical cases in real time, as well as provides additional relevant information to patients, family members, and healthcare professionals. Everyone can easily monitor heart rate, stress level, and ECG in the smartphone. It's much more it's much portable in any given situation. We have founded company in 2016 and currently incorporated in Ukraine, US, and from this year in the Netherlands. We are a team of experienced managers, developers, data scientists, and strong medical advisors from Europe and Ukraine. Our founders' previous business experience, team's technical expertise, and strong support from our mentors in Europe and US, and recognition by healthcare professionals make our product and team competitive and qualified. We launched our first product in 2017 as a consumer wearable for monitoring of vitals and taking care of our loved ones and relatives. Later, we completely moved into the medical field of application of our solution, and now we disrupting the ECG monitoring. Cardiomo is a way more insightful and cheaper device than the traditional Holter monitor. During the pandemic of COVID-19, our solution has become even more important and acute. This month, we launched cooperation with the biggest chain of cardiology centers in the Netherlands for heart rhythm monitoring of post-COVID patients. We are humbled by this incredible opportunity to impact patient care and improve clinical outcomes and quality of life. And now we are looking forward to breakthrough discoveries in COVID-19 effects for cardiovascular system. Thank you.
Thank you, Ksenia. That sounds like things have really expanded for you since I met you, and especially the work in the Netherlands. That's very exciting.
Yes, thank you.
So we have been joined by Dariya Loseva. Dariya, I already introduced you briefly, but the next speaker will be Dennis Gurak, talking to us about A.D.A.M. Dennis?
Hi, thanks. I'm the CEO and co-founder of A.D.A.M, as was already mentioned, and just a small presentation about our company. Starts with a vision. So imagine the number of injuries received from dangerous sports, car crashes, and other unfortunate accidents. Millions each year around the globe. And existing medical approach is not sufficient. On average, 20 people die every day from the lack of available organs and tissues for transplant. So the only way to fix this is to start creating them on demand. A.D.A.M, which stands for Advanced Development of Additive Manufacturing, is a biotech company that focuses on 3D printing of organic bones and tissues. Our goal is to cut barriers to medical treatment for millions. The technological world where delays, risks, and costs of tissue and organ transplants are no longer an issue. Just imagine, what if we treat our body as mechanisms with replaceable parts? What if we create infrastructure that could fix legs, arms, or spine, just like in a car workshop? What we're trying to do is to disrupt existing orthopedic titanium market, which in 2019 was estimated at $43 billion, with $25 billion in US alone. A.D.A.M's unique business model allows to back up for people to back up themselves through CAT and MRI scans stored at our digital platform, and then eventually have their individual bones and tissues printed on demand in the certified clinics. Our model is technology as a service. A.D.A.M has most traction among similar projects, and our proprietary technology is comprised of printers and materials. It has already been validated and proven that implant dissolves while being replaced by the bone tissue. We've completed preclinical trials and received FDA positive response on 510(k) rule eligibility, which means that no human trials are required. This allows us to launch 3D printed organic bones on the market early 2022 instead of previously expected 2025. So we're confident in our future due to recent advisory board formation, where we have former DARPA director as our chief scientific advisor and having secured lead investor. We're currently in active fundraising of our round A, and the plan is that bones is only the beginning. In recent months, global healthcare system problems have become strikingly evident. The outbreak of COVID-19 has exacerbated existing issues in the industry, causing many professionals to rethink the healthcare models currently in place. Breakthrough improvements regarding treatment could surely result from big data and AI applications. However, the basic demand for materials such as human tissues and organs remains largely unmet due to supply chain vulnerabilities. And with adoption of 3D printing in the healthcare industry, many of these problems could be drastically improved. Thanks for attention, and I just wanted to show a small video, which should summarize all this up.
The world is rough, and we are not. A.D.A.M technology allows to print organic bone implants on demand, faster and easier than ever. The process starts with a digital platform where we create a 3D model of an implant based on you, then printed in up to 24 hours. It's a personalized bone just like yours, made of ceramic bioglass or modified biopolymers with no toxic, allergic, and teratogenic effects. Taking place in the point of care, a certified hospital, done by a doctor you trust. Implants stimulate osteogenesis. Human bone tissue fully replaces the implant over time. And there is no need to reoperate the patient. No human trials required. A.D.A.M will provide technology as a service to hospitals, launching in 2022. The world is rough, but it's okay.
Thanks for attention. I hope the quality of video was okay with this sharing of the screen thing.
Yeah, it was fine. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, that was great.
Thanks.
So now, third up, we have Dariya Loseva to talk to us about MyHelix. Dariya?
Yes, hello, everyone. So I'm Dariya Loseva, geneticist, molecular biologist, and CEO and co-founder of MyDNA and MyHelix company. And that these companies, startups, helps to manage everyday new choices after analysis of DNA. So the latest research shows that 11 million people die every year because of bad diet. 11 million is like the population of Finland, of 2 Finlands even. More people die from too much food than from not enough food. And in this study, bad nutrition measures by too salty, too sweety, less fruits and vegetables, much processed food. Another study conducted over a 34 years period involving more than 123,000 people showed that those who eat healthy live at least 7 years longer. So let's start eat broccoli. Unfortunately, that will not work for everyone. I'm sure all of you know that each person is unique. And we geneticists know exactly what makes every human so special. Not their lifestyle or a rich inner world, but about 5 million tiny changes in their DNA. And these changes not only define your eye color and earlobe type, but also your metabolic features and nutritional requirements. Then why do we all eat the same food? Why do we all follow only generic recommendation? There is no one-size-fits-all approach in your lifestyle and your diet. That's why every meal choices, because of different genetic risks, will be different for me and another person. And that's work for everyone. That is why nutrigenetics and nutrigenomics companies such as MyDNA and MyHelix, take into account all genetic features and helps make the right choices in personalized health and nutrition. Next time when you will eat, just think what choices is best for you for your longer life and a better future. So that's what we exactly doing. And right now we get a different genetic tests that help to manage everyday meal choices for people.
Thank you. Very interesting. Yeah, and extremely important. Diet is incredibly important and becoming more and more appreciated with time about the importance of diet. So now we move to Explogen. And Markian, you were a little bit late coming on, but I had a brief introduction with your background and to the company.
Thank you very much. I was able to see it, but actually it was just...
Oh, okay. Okay.
Probably it joined me as basically attendee instead of participant initially.
Okay. Okay. Well, welcome. So the floor is yours. Why don't you tell us more about Explogen, please?
So today I'm going to talk about our startup biotech company, which specializes in microbial engineering and is based in Lviv. So I would like to show you some slides. And so let's go. A second. Okay. So we are a small contract research organization, which is based in center of Lviv. is based in one of the old state enterprises in the Zelena 20. And we, over there, we have built a lab which is based on international standards. We have quite a good set of all the equipment which is required for modern molecular biology work. And also we have the equipment for doing sequencing services. It is actually for first generation sequencing, which we have Sanger, and also we have MinION for third generation sequencing. So Explogen is the first Ukrainian biotech company which specializes in genomic and metabolomic microbial strains engineering. So what we do, first, we obviously, it's the main our field, it is creation of microbial producers. Another field is obviously optimization and improvement of the existing microbial producers. So if somebody have got a strain which makes some interesting product but doesn't make quite enough of it, or they want to improve yield, or maybe tries to do some metabolic engineering, like change the pathway and so on, then we actually can help. So our field of expertise is from natural products to specific proteins. So depends what is your requirement. Our main object, it is first, obviously, it is all types of biotechnology important microbial strains and yeasts. Now, who can be our customers? It is first, obviously, pharmaceutical, agrochemical, and other companies that use microbial fermentation for production of natural products, proteins, enzymes, and biomass. So obviously, our main research area and our focus will be producers design and lab trials. But also we can offer consultancy and support on pilot fermentation and on mass production. So if somebody has some scaling issues or other things, I hope we would be able to help. With respect of microbial metabolic engineering, obviously customer sends in the strain. We discuss what strain modifications he wants to do, set the agenda, set up the work plan. Then obviously the engineering is done, then resequencing, phenotypical test, final version checks. And then obviously after that, transfer the strain back to customer, but don't leave him alone. If he needs any support or feedback, then provide it in the industrial conditions. Obviously, those projects do take quite a bit of time. It's usually between half a year to 2 years, depending on complexity, what needs to be done, on strain tractability, and all the other factors. Also, it's genomics and bioinformatics. So with my experience in bioinformatics and in-house access to first and third generation sequencing, so we have ABI, 16 capillary for Sanger, and MinION for Nanopore. We also have access to Illumina platform and our own set of specialized pipeline, which I developed over the years for assembly, annotation, and variant discovery. So I can do obviously all microbial genomes, fungal genomes, can be algae. While I haven't done much plant or animal work, I mean, actually, with animals wrong, I do have quite a lot of transgenic mice experience. So, but I mean, depending what customer needs to be done, it can be done. And obviously, the basic service, it starts from microbial and fungal strain ID, which actually we are now teaching quite a lot of friends and potential customers what can be done and what it allows them, because here it's still not very familiar technology in practical terms. If you go to typical Ukrainian microbiology lab within some hospital or some industrial settings, not many of them have heard that you actually can do the sequencing here locally, at least for the 16S. So also we have the technology for cloning and manipulating of large DNA fragments. So if somebody needs to move around the to create a construct which is up to 120 kb from smaller plasmids to stitch them together, or do a direct cloning of some cluster which is up to 70 kb, then we can do it. So obviously our resources is private strain collection, which we isolated ourselves, actinobacterial producers of natural products, and test strains for biological activity screening. So we have those two. Then we have sets of plasmid vectors working with various microorganisms, sequencing and oligosynthesis, and dedicated bioinformatics infrastructure. So we don't rely on public clouds for nearly all of our services. We have our own set of servers, which we can run the stuff into, and obviously experts. So our team consists of 4 core people, and then there are a few extras. So mine is Yuri, who is expert in microbial genomic and metabolomic engineering with 20 years of experience since 18 abroad. Then me, where I spent 15 years living and studying in Cambridge, from my PhD till my postdoc. and work both industrial and academic settings. Then we have also expert in yeast genetic and metabolic engineering, and expert in microbial genetic engineering. There's quite a lot of experience and also course experience abroad. So we are working at the moment. We have several finished projects for European big pharma company and for scientific institute in Germany. Also another project which is microbial strain engineering. We have a few finished bacterial genomes. I mean, 20 or so are basically good annotated draft assembly stage. And now the task is to actually get a mini ion to work well enough to actually finish those two. So also we can construct cosmid libraries and have done quite a few. And also done a bit of work for our local academic collaborations for 16S sequencing for Daniel Halitsky Medical Institute and our Department of Genetics and Microbiology in Lviv University. So that's our address. And if somebody wants some food for thought, here are some ideas about the issues which are faced by biotech companies in Ukraine. So thank you very much for the attention.
Thank you, Markian. So as a microbiologist, I appreciate everything you're doing, but thank you. Very interesting. The last presentation, Nanobot Medical, Yuri Svedinko will talk to us about what his company is doing. Yuri?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Yuri. I am founder of Nanobot Medical. So it's a mostly medical animation company, and our work is mostly visual. That's why I will share my screen, and I will share some slides first. So we are a small medical animation company. We are started maybe around 17 years from now with my colleague, co-founder Andrew. So he is now living in Kiev. So he is striving to develop our European office. And I am located in San Diego. So I'm trying to develop our San Diegoan office. So what exactly we are doing? So it's mostly about some sort of interconnections between industry, between some sort of small startups, big companies, and between the audience. So what we can do, we can convey message very clear, very understandable, and visually accurate, both to scientific people and both to investors. I'll just show you an example of what we can do in visuals. So as you can see my screen, and I will just share one of video. It's our demo reel. So it's about mostly about products we can create. We're working very hard in field of medical, some sort of mechanism of action of different drugs, and also in medical device area, and also in surgery and oncology. So our mostly important and happy clients is early startups and companies that would like to convey their message to audience. It's very important nowadays because now everybody faces these problems via Zoom meetings and via PowerPoint presentations, and nobody can explain exactly what they can do in a couple of minutes. But we can help, and that's why our company, more than 15 years, trying to create some sort of new visual pathways to explain the even very complicated molecular mechanisms, or maybe very sophisticated medical treatment, or maybe surgical procedure. So we are experts in this field. We can create something in life science field, and it can be accurate, it can be visually attractive, and it can convey message the same like you know, in Hollywood video. So how we can achieve this? So basically, what's is in scientific communication? So it's mostly a way to tell a story and share your thoughts, sharing your experience to broad public. That's why you have to start your conversation with your audience with some sort of visuals to explain how everything works. And what we can do? So we can just discuss with our clients, with big pharmaceutical companies, with small startups, and like, you know, facing a problem that they have. So first we just asking them, okay, what unique you do have, what unique mechanisms of what unique medical devices you would like to show to the public. And next we just create some sort of visuals based on our clients' technology. So that's why we are scientifically accurate, because we have to dig a lot of different science around our client's technology. So first we have to analyze the mechanism of action of the new compound, or maybe about their genetical treatment, or maybe about their medical device. And next we just jump to creating some sort of visuals. Next, we will just convey with animation, and we just have some sort of discussion with our clients with those animations. So we do have a lot of different ways to convey the story. The first very simple one is just to create something complicated on flat background. Next one is full completed 3D. And the last one is illustration that can be used in PowerPoint presentations and overall. And also we do have a lot of ways to engage our clients, like, auditory, so we can use even virtual reality and augmented reality stuff to, like, to do an immersive way to tell a story and explain a little bit more about technology, compound, or product. So that's why we do have a lot of different artistic people in our team. So our team is more than 12 people. So it's mostly graphical designers and artists. And also we do have medical advisors in our team. So we can create everything very precise and accurate. So we've created a lot of different visuals in medical devices video. In mechanism of action of compounds videos. So we've created a lot of video for startups, for lab-based techniques. And also now we are, like, trying to discover a new field in data analysis. So now we can create some sort of information based on our clients' data. So it's not even movies, it's some sort of analytical software and data analysis. And we can create some sort of interactive data analysis for our clients as well. So we are growing. And last year we won Cannes Corporate Award for one of our video in women's reproductive health. And also we do have our happy clients standing in Cannes with this award achieved with tight collaboration with us. So we've created a couple of videos for startups, and they can raise up to 35% in their stock volume. So next we had a presentation with A.D.A.M, with the largest startup in healthcare with Nanobot. And also we've created a small startup with Cytonics, and now they're growing. Now they're maybe triple in their equity, so we can create some sort of videos that can engage your auditor and engage investor as well. So that's almost all about us. So we can create a very easy, convenient, and beautiful way to create a story, to highlight your procedure, to create some new words about your compound, or maybe a molecular, some sort of genetical and molecular technology to help other people in medical field. And we can create it's very simple, easy to use, to understand, and it's very, very convenient. So that's almost all. So we are located both in San Diego and Kiev, and it was pleasure to speak with you, and it was pleasure to be on this conference from Ukrainian side.
I'm struck by the diversity of these companies. Cardiomo Care has, a personal device that transmits information, for their care to caregivers. A.D.A.M is using, IT-based additive manufacturing to custom make, bones and eventually organs. MyHelix is looking at our genetics and really the subtleties in our genetics, and providing advice about how best to use that to improve your health. Explogen is, hardcore wet bench science, using certainly all the IT tools that are out there now. And then Nanobot, again, IT, in my day, we called that medical illustration, and people did that with colored pencils and pens. And so, it's absolutely fascinating, the diversity of companies that you represent and what's going on in Ukraine. And I think you represent that, there's good science, good technology, and a thriving entrepreneurial spirit in Ukraine. with that, I'd like to just ask a few questions, and in no particular order of companies. Just, you know, each of you please just address it as you will, if you want to. But you know, I'm interested in understanding. You know, I've worked around startups for many years in the United States. And I'm interested in understanding more about what some of the challenges are in Ukraine for startup companies. And I guess Nanobot, we can't really refer to you as a startup, but or you can give us a historical lesson. It's 17 years old, but I'm interested in really trying to understand. I think our audience would be too. You know, we see that there's a lot of business plan competitions now in Ukraine, and pitch competitions, and there's, you know, a whole generation coming up of people that are interested in entrepreneurism and creating their own future through you know, starting their own company. But I'm going to open up the floor to our 5 panelists about what the challenges and opportunities are, please.
So yeah, well, maybe from my side, we've worked in Ukraine for a long time, and we started to work with European companies and with companies based in Russia. So it was mostly like Pfizer, Novartis, like Bayer, like AstraZeneca, like Eli Lilly. So we've created a lot of different approaches to reach those guys, both in Europe, in the US, and the answer is very simple. So to create something that can be valuable on this market, so you have to be the best in your niche. So you have to be produce the most competitive product with great price, with great feedback, with great relationship with your clients. And also it has to be some sort of very competitive and unique on market. So that's why we can benefit in Ukraine, because we do not have any competitors in in Ukraine, even in Europe, there are very few in number. And still we can be cheap, and still we can be competitive because of our client appropriate approach. And this was just one way to expand and to grow our business. And what is about challenges? So yeah, well, in Ukraine, it's a very few number of people that can be our clients, unfortunately. That's why we are just trying to explain in Europe, in US, in markets, on worldwide market, in Asia market. So this is the mostly challenging. Now, because of COVID, it's a little bit easier because everybody now trying to be virtual. But the days it was maybe 2010, 2012, 2013, it was very hard to find clients, and we are struggling to finding clients. That's why we had a lot of different, trade shows, personal meetings, and we are striving to do as much networking as we can. And maybe this helps a lot. So my advice to everybody, just do a lot of networking. Now it's a little bit easier because of COVID, so you can connect with almost anybody. And trying to be the best on your market niche. So that's all.
Okay, thank you. Ksenia, I think that you were also going to comment. Is that correct? And you're on mute.
Yeah, thank you. I think it seems to me that now it's really more opportunities than before. Maybe I compare when we started, and for now I see more opportunities because firstly I saw that Ukraine tech sector has shown remarkable growth for last few years, and also startup ecosystem also is rapidly developing now, and a lot of local accelerators and incubators have appeared. So some key main players on Ukrainian pharma or medical market also are interested in Ukrainian medtech and biotech startup, and also there are some cooperation with corporation exist, and also a lot of grants now. So I see a lot of opportunities, but About the challenges also exist, and they always will be. Medical technology is always a subject to a very wide range of regulations, and this area is quite strictly regulated. I saw the challenge. It's to be good prepared for any regulation process, and because medical solution and product must be approved and certificate in compliance with certain procedures. Yeah, I see these challenges.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to remind our participants, those of you non-panelists viewing this, if you have questions that you'd like, go ahead and use the Q&A function on Zoom. So thank you, Ksenia. Any of the other three panelists want to comment? Dariya?
Yeah, for me, the main challenges in biotech startups in Ukraine is the bad communication between the universities and business. And if we see the international, for example, experiences, so we can find that it's easier to communicate with the international universities, for example, for science-based than in Ukraine because of some regulations. And the same problem is the bad equipment in that labs. So actually the government universities are not good equipped have not good equipment, and that's why you couldn't do something easier and quickly than, for example, in other countries. And that's the big opportunity. Even we found our partner not in Ukraine, but in Finland. So our lab, partner lab that do the genetics are in Finland, not in Ukraine. And that's a pity for me. And if we will have better communications and better equipment, I'm sure much more startups will appear here. Because like we have a good brain.
Thank you. Well, it's interesting because Yuri's in San Diego, Dennis is in the US in Connecticut, Ksenia is on a plane to the Netherlands for, she has a subsidiary in Netherlands. Dariya, you're working with people in Finland. It's very interesting. Other comments from the other two panelists on these challenges and opportunities?
Well, I just wanted to add and emphasize the state of development of the market. Specifically, it's hard to get clients in Ukraine for something innovative, especially in biotech. Probably for other startups, it's easier in basic IT, which is booming, but biotech is, and largely hard technologies, hard appliances are still in a very low stage of development in terms of their interest for investors and for the ecosystem in general. Thanks.
Thank you. Markian, you were nodding up and down. Do you have anything to add to this?
Yes, just basically just a few points from the slide shown. So, okay, if you look on the actually biotech sphere, especially the one who do real science or basically the ones who do wet lab work, I would say first issue it is in Ukraine, you have very bad express in brackets international logistics. Basically, the Ukrainian customs officials have not heard about such term as cold chain. So if you send any samples in or out, any proteins, make sure they can survive at the room temperature or sort of Ukrainian summer plus 40 degrees temperature for a few weeks while they're kept in customs. So if anything goes to the Kyiv, it is likely, especially for the first time, it's likely to get stuck there for 2-3 weeks usually. Then another thing is, if you order any reagents like from Thermo Fisher, HLR, Hemolaboractive, or NEB, Biolabtech, or Agilent Sartorius, then actually your order time from the moment you order to delivery will be from 45 to 90 days. So compare it to nearly just-in-time delivery in the West. Obviously, another thing is complex tax system. And then the last one on a critical scientific issue, faults, it is that Actually, our chemistry research in Ukraine is very efficiently blocked with Ukrainian precursor in brackets law. So even pure like sulfuric or hydrochloric or acetone or ether, they are actually controlled substances. And it's extremely difficult to obtain a license. It takes quite a few years and quite a bit of money to get it. And obviously, as everybody else mentioned, it's actually the biotech market is almost non-existent inside the Ukraine. So you have to educate the customers, tell them what to do, what can be achieved. Like you come into the microbiology, clinical microbiology lab, it is effectively at early 80s with them, like 1980s years, their methods. They know about the chromogenic agars, they know about the biochemical strain ID, but they haven't heard much about the sequencing, of what you can do with it. So you have actually to show them how to use the data, to train them, make some samples to them, and so they can write some proposals, some grants, and maybe get some funding and do some more work. So it's quite a bit interesting iterative process. So
yeah.
Thank you very much for your attention. If any questions to me, feel free to ask.
Okay, thank you for that, Markian. Sort of maybe my next question, given what you guys have all each said, is, you know, if you were mentoring a young entrepreneur, it doesn't have to be, you know, doesn't have to be young in age, but, you know, somebody who's just kind of taking on a role of trying to be an entrepreneur. If you were mentoring that person, what are some of the key pieces of advice that you would give them? And these are people in Ukraine, so these are your, you know, they may be your students or, you know, colleagues or cousins or whatever, but you know, they want to start their own company, and you know, let's say they want to start it in a field like, you know, a technology field like one of you. So what kind of advice would you give them, please?
Okay, so my advice will be keep doing and always educate. So I think that in every tech company, you should always study well, because it's a very like field that always are something new to know, and keep doing it.
So perseverance is really important. Just, yeah, okay. Ksenia, you look like you had something to say.
Yeah, yes, please. I would like to add, if I have some startups which I'm a mentor in these startups, so I have experience. That's why I can answer. They should find out from the start, from the beginning, find out how the idea is regulated, who are the users for whom they are creating the product, who will buy the product, who will pay for this product, whose problem they are solving, because and study the product market fit, because sometimes, but not sometimes, it's often, the founders created the product and they solve the problem that doesn't really exist. And that's why it's very important from the beginning to make this like homework, and also to keep in mind the right distribution of funds, because cost to develop the medical device medtech product is significantly higher than other kind of products. For example, cost of creating medical product, they are higher than creating consumer product with like nice to have health monitoring features. It's a long way, and it takes a lot of funds and a lot of resources. That's why you should keep in mind. But the more my first advice, you have to be brave and to start. And the difference between who make it and who don't, it's only the difference, because the founders, they don't be afraid of not knowing everything from the beginning, because a lot of people would like to share their experience and their help, their support for founders. And be clear about what do you want to make with your business? What is your goal, and what would you like to change in the world?
Thank you. I'm actually going to interrupt. We do have one question from the audience, and it's regarding investment capital. So the question was about what's the current state of the flow of investment capital from the US and the EU into Ukraine, and what kind of impediments there are to that flow. And specifically, this person asked if corruption was a possible impediment to the flow of investment capital into Ukraine. So, Dennis, you want to take that on? You're a VC, so.
Yeah, well, the inflow has increased for sure over the last 5 years or so, but still it's nowhere near the amounts which are even, for instance, even Poland has, like the closest neighbor. It's also, this is also due to actually the cost of labor in Ukraine, which still remains very low in comparison to EU and US. So I would say for an average engineer, it would be like 10 times lower cost of labor per year. That's why objectively the expenses are not that high. So not as much capital is needed to bring the product to the market, let's say to Series A, when the product is ready. And then when the revenues start, you don't need to have that much capital. But still, that's kind of the chicken and egg problem, you know. There's money needed to finance the startups, but investors do realize that they don't need as much money as in the West, and people are not still, Ukrainian startups are still, they don't know the way of thinking of Western VCs. So most of the times this becomes a problem to secure the right investor for startups. As for corruption, I think it's not a problem for Ukrainian originated startups, because they are just not, most of them are not working in the Ukrainian market. They don't depend on Ukrainian regulators. Sometimes, as the cases with that Markian said, they do appear. But overall, if your product targets Western market, you don't have to think of these issues. So at least we didn't experience that in our case, because we've targeted the US market from the very beginning.
Okay, so we're running out of time. I'm going to see if anybody else wants to take on that question on the panel. I think we only have a couple of minutes left. Anybody else want to take on the investment question? No? Okay. So I guess another question then that we had is, well, to go back to the mentoring, the advice. I think we had one or two of you talk about advice to young entrepreneurs. Anybody else want to chime in on that? Because we have some other questions. Markian, did you have something?
Just a couple of points. Basically, I mean, think about the survival and think how to grow. Obviously, think it's quite good to think in biological terms. Like imagine yourself being a species and trying, okay, how you can adapt to the environment, how to be flexible. I mean, remember at all we're saying, when in Rome, you do as Romans do. I mean, or try to adapt to be compatible with them, because otherwise you are not likely to survive. So there is lots of methods how which you need to be aware of.
Okay, thank you. See another company or another question from the audience about how hard it is to build a team of people to support you. I think they probably mean, you know, sourcing people who have the right expertise in the various skills that you need to run or start and run a company. Anybody want to talk about team building and the challenges there? Ksenia, did you have your?
Yeah, yes, please. I think the main thing that when you build your team and when you looking for first mentors and advisors, the first thing that they will, your product, your solution also can solve their problems, and they like or will like or would like your product and love your product. It's my experience. I say how it was in our case. All our team members came to our company because they would like to create something special, something with social impact, and something that can help many of people. And a lot of our mentors and medical advisors, they help us and support us for free, and because they also love the product. So create the good and the most, the best product, and the team will come, and mentorship will come to you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to comment on team building, some of the challenges there, or advice on team building?
Yeah, maybe I can tell a little bit more about our team. So basically, it's some sort of mixing between tips and advice to young entrepreneurs and to how to create a successful team. So it's a very hard question to do. So mostly it's a good way to create some sort of outstaffed and outsourced team first, because it's very hard to create a team in US or in Europe, because it's a lot of taxes you have to pay from each paycheck. So it's very hard and very complicated to create your own team overseas. But it's very easy to do in Ukraine, because we do have a lot of talented students. So I'm not saying so we would like to to buy cheap fresh minds, but it's a great way to do some sort of internship. So when you can rise and educate your own stuff for your own company in remote basis, and next you can hire all of those people for permanent basis. So it's a better way to do.
Excellent. Anybody else comment on that one? Yeah, Dariya, yeah.
I'd like to add for Yuri, I agree that in Ukraine it's not a problem to build a team. Especially we have a lot of who talented, who want to help and even can advise you and share their experience. And maybe because we are all Ukrainians, that it's easier to get these advices from here than from abroad, for example. And for me, it was really a great experience, because I think that we had the incubation program 1991 incubation in Ukraine, and it was great because they give enough media support, and that helps to the people from another spheres, not only from genetics and molecular biology, but from marketing and from lore and etc. that help us. So actually, when people heard the idea, and if they like this idea, then they can help in any advices, or maybe they want to join the team. That's what, for me, it's the best idea, is that be the right atmosphere in the team, and like the right goals, and that's the most important, because we are doing business for people, and we're doing it between the people. That's why it's this humanity is.
Yeah, that's great. That's real good advice, I think, especially for young people who want to get involved with a startup. I've checked with Christina, and apparently we are out of time. So I don't know if you have access to this, but we had, close to 50 participants listening in today, which I think is great. And I really want to thank each of you for preparing, your willingness to participate, particularly if you're in Kyiv, where it's going on 10 o'clock tonight. Thank you so much. I'm impressed with the diversity of companies and what you're all doing and the advice you were giving today. So thank you so much. And I wish you all a very happy holiday. Thank you.